takes a back seat as the cigarette catches.
Hi, I'm Apphia Campbell, and I am an actress, a theater maker, a singer, and a writer. And I have been doing the Fringe for the past 6 years. I guess this is my sixth year doing the Fringe. And I just want to talk to you as an artist and kind of give some notes to you artists who are coming, solo artists who are coming to the Fringe, on some things that have helped me along the way with creating my work, and also some ways that I cope with the beast that is Ed Fringe. So I came to the Fringe 6 years ago, and I first came with my show Black is the Color of My Voice. And it's a show about Nina Simone. It follows her life as a child prodigy up into the civil rights movement. And when I was creating this show, which is kind of like my first point about like when you're creating your own work, one thing I learned for myself is what I was good at. I had to realize what I was good at. And for me, I realized like I am a dramatic actress, and I also am a good singer. I found that out a bit late, but nevertheless, I discovered that about myself. And I wanted to figure out a way to exploit that. And I thought about when I was creating my work, I was traveling some years prior to that, and I met this man in a bar. It sounds shady. I was in Switzerland, and I was in a bar, and I met this other American, and he told me, "You need to go somewhere where you are unique. And in doing that, you'll be able to be more successful." And I took that as I need to find a place where I felt safe to create and not have any repercussions of failing. And in doing so, I went on a voyage of my own, and I moved to China. And there is where I first wrote Black is the Color of My Voice, and ended up bringing it to the Ed Fringe. So I guess when you're thinking about creating your work, you don't have to go to China, but I think it's really important to find a place where you feel safe when you're creating that work, and where you can explore and figure out what makes you you, and how you can bring that to the Fringe. Because I think that when people come to the Fringe, they are coming to see brilliant work, but they're coming to invest in artists. They're coming to invest in you and what you can bring that's uniquely you. So I think keeping that in mind when you're creating your work and when you're coming to the Fringe, I think that kind of takes a load off of when you're thinking about like, what am I going to bring to the Edinburgh Fringe? When I came to the Fringe the second year, I think it was the second year, I went to all of the workshops that Fringe Central were having. I found them to be really helpful and really useful way to kind of meet other artists and hear about other artists' kind of journeys. And one artist was talking about how she flyered at the top of the Royal Mile, and how it made her feel like really strong and like really empowered to kind of stand at the top of the Royal Mile and flyer. Which I was like, wow, that's really brave, because the Royal Mile is really scary because loads of people are there, and I don't think they want to flyer, but that's really great. But then I started thinking about what would be great for kind of my own ritual. And I think coming to the Fringe, it's really easy to kind of get caught up in the fact that you are competing with like 4,000 shows, and how am I going to stand out? How am I going to get people to come and see my shows? And I practice gratitude kind of statements. So before I go out to perform, I find like a quiet space, and I just sit there, and I close my eyes, and I say all the things that I'm grateful for. And I say that I'm grateful for the gifts that I have. I'm grateful that I'm able to perform. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful that I woke up this morning. And all of these things that I say that I'm grateful for help me relax, but also help me understand the privilege that it is to perform in any capacity, even if it is at the Fringe when I'm like getting dressed in the dark in the back, and I might do it for like 2 people, but I'm grateful that I get to do what I love and I get to express myself to the world. And I find that that ritual for me really grounds me, and no matter what happens, I feel ready to go out and perform 10 minutes later after I've done my turnaround from the other show. So I think it's really important to find what works for you and what your ritual is when you're going to be tackling performing at the Fringe. So the next thing I want to talk about are reviews. Yes, reviews. So everyone is not going to like you. That's just reality. I came to the Fringe the first year and I had a really great Fringe. And the second year I came, I brought 2 shows. One was a repeat. I did Black is the Color of My Voice again, and then I did another show. And people did not like that show. And I got some really bad reviews, and it was really difficult to get on stage and perform every day, realizing that people did not like that show. And I guess for me, I realized like if I put all of my worth on the positive reviews, then I also had to put my worth on the negative reviews. So I decided for myself that I wouldn't read reviews. I just kind of had to go back to my gratitude and being grateful for what I was doing. And I think if you're coming as a solo artist, I know it's really hard because obviously you're producing yourself and you're like trying to get people to come in and see your shows. And I think it's kind of figuring out how to deal with, reading those bad reviews. So maybe you don't read the bad reviews till after the festival. And if you're thinking about developing the show a bit more, then go back and maybe there's something in there that you're like, okay, that's valid. Like there were some valid things in those bad reviews, but I didn't need to see them when I was performing at the time. So I think that, for you, like kind of figure out what works for your mental health, because you're the person who's going to have to get on that stage every night, and you don't need another voice in your head telling you you're not good enough. You need to be on that stage saying, I'm grateful for what I'm doing right now, and I'm going to do my best. And if people love it, great. If they don't, fuck it. I'm just going to do it. So I think that it's really important to figure out like, how are you going to deal with that before you come? And and just understand like, it's not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay as well. Find your tribe. I think it's really easy to come to the Fringe and be all consumed with your show because it's a big investment. It's a lot on your shoulders. But I think it's really important to also come to the Fringe and meet other artists, people who are going to be your future collaborators, people who might program you, people who, you might be working with for years to come. Like the Fringe is kind of a long game. So coming in and meeting other people is kind of one of the most important things you should be doing as well. I think it's really great for camaraderie and your mental health, and to kind of lean on other people who are going through the same experience as you. And that kind of leads into like my final point, which is go and see shows. I think, when we come here, like I said, it's all consuming. And it is. Like, if you're producing by yourself and you're out there flyering, like I was doing it, I was out there flyering. I was a horrible person flyering because I just like to talk to everybody. So I always end up giving out like 4 or 5 flyers. But I had great conversations, and those 4 or 5 people would come to my show. So it all worked out, sort of. But I think, you go and see shows because it's a time for you to be inspired. I love the Edinburgh Fringe because I come and I get the most inspiration from my work and from other artists, seeing what they're doing, how they're telling stories. One story that has stuck with me for for the past 2 years was from Bryony Kimming's I'm a Phoenix Bitch, which was such a brilliant story about like her journey as a mother. And yeah, and it just kind of connected with me a lot in terms of the way that she told her story and the type of story that it was. And I was just really inspired by her work, and it made me think about how I can create my work in different ways. As well as going to see work and being inspired, is really great to also collaborate with other artists to try and do cross promotion to help your work sell as well. So I think it's remembering that we're all kind of working together at the Fringe to all kind of achieve similar things. But yeah, it's also a time of inspiration as well. So go and see shows, and you might find your tribe who are future collaborators, friends, and people you'll work with for years to come. So those are kind of my tips for artists or solo artists coming to the Fringe. I hope you enjoyed, hope you got something out of it, and see you out there flyering.
Mile and a half on a bus takes a long time.